Welcome back. This week's video is the unicorn horn sword. So it's a collapsible, extendable, cool prop toy, fidget. Give it a flick and all of this comes out the front. Collapse it up, back down in the handle. So in this video, we'll go through the design of this thing and then how to set it up on your build plate, and we'll go through assembly at the end. Let's take a look at how this unicorn horn sword works. We've got all of these concentric segments, I guess, and when we give it a good flick of the wrist, they all extend and get stuck and come out and form the blade of this thing. Each one is stuck inside of the one before it because these pieces are all tapered. From this end, it's larger here and it has a constant taper the entire way up. And this end is the smallest. The outside of this rides in the handle and it's biggest at the bottom and thinnest at the top. The wall thickness is always the same, but the width of this opening changes, and as a result, the width of the outside changes too. When we get to about here in the handle, that's where it gets stuck, and then it exposes all of the rest of it. The next piece gets stuck about here and extends the same amount, and then the last piece has the same kind of engagement when it's stuck and the same amount extended. When it looks like this, if we cut it in half, we get this crazy looking section view, but you can see how the pieces are up here and interfering. And it's not in the perfect spot, but in real life it is. And this is where the taper on this gets thick and the taper in the handle gets thin. So that's where they get stuck. To get the blades on the inside, we have to take this cover off. And the cover has 5 slots in it that correspond to 5 lugs on the handle. And the lugs pass through the slots. Then you give it about a 30-degree twist clockwise. So in this direction, it's a righty-tighty. And then it goes underneath these overhangs, hits a stop at the end, and that's where it locks. There's also a ramp in there, so as you twist it, it gets tighter, and it's a snug fit so that it won't fall off. Now, these, as they sit, have a bunch of clearance around them, and that's why they can come out really easily when you tilt it forward. And if you give it a good snap, the whole blade will extend and be at full length. And then they do interfere and they get stuck in the out position. You usually have to give it a good tap on the end and then push it all down and it will collapse. Once it starts to move, it will all fall. But you need to give it a little bit of a gentle encouragement to get it to start. And that's it. We'll go look at the build plate setup next. This is the build plate setup. The end cap we want to put on the flat side and face the slots for the lugs up. All of the locking features that hold this thing on are 45-degree angles or maybe less, but they'll print as an overhang with no support. The blade pieces, the very inside one, we want to put on the flat end and face it vertical. It won't print on this end because of the radiuses at the top. The 2 center pieces, we want to put the big end down, ideally, but it will print on either end. And then the handle needs to be faced lugs down and hilt up because this little depression in the hilt wouldn't be printable upside down. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure this would have been reversible. But you stand it on this end and it will print all of this hilt as an overhang with no trouble. This one's a nice stable part. It's easy. So just print these 5 and we'll go through assembly next. Here are the parts we should have printed. We've got a handle, 3 of these twisty pieces, and the end cap. One of these is the inside. It's solid. These 2 have a hole down the middle, and this one's just a solid piece. So this one's in the middle. These 2 are different sizes, so the bigger one's the outside. This one's the middle. This guy goes all the way on the inside. So we're going to leave the big one aside for now. The solid piece goes inside of the middle piece. And you'll know you're in the right end because it will only go in one way. Then we're going to take the middle piece and put it inside of the big piece. And these really should just slide together. Now, the inside of the handle is bigger than the big twisty piece. And we're just going to feed this right in. And at this point, these should fall at the front. You can hold them in or just put it down on the table. So this guy is the cover, and it's got these 5 notches that line up with these 5 nubs. And it's just a twist lock. So you want to line up the slots with the nubs, push it straight down over, and then just give it a twist clockwise like a righty-tighty, and that'll lock the bottom on. So now they can't come out the end, and when you come forward, they're going to go up into the tapers and stop. So that's what keeps each piece from coming out the front, and they kind of stick when they're out. So just give it a smack and the whole thing will collapse back down into the handle.